brilliant, beautiful souls who want to be a part of creating the new earth? Here is the answer. Welcome to Soul Search. Soul Search is the high-frequency global online destination for spirituality and consciousness. This is a multi-dimensional community for spiritual seekers, healers, teachers, and guides for the global awakening. With Soul Search, the spiritual seeker can easily search for and connect with healing modalities, spiritual teachings, practices, and practitioners. Within the Soul Search community, you can join groups or take courses for your spiritual journey. With Soul Search, you are part of an inclusive, growing global community for consciousness. For spiritually conscious practitioners, Soul Search connects you to a global audience seeking your services. Post client reviews, articles, videos, photos, and audio. You can create secure and private online communities for your groups and clients. Be a part of an awakening community for spirituality where you can collaborate and connect with practitioners and seekers. Whether you are a spiritual seeker, healer, or just curious, join soulsearch.io today. Thanks to everyone for joining us today for this Ascension of the Soul conference. And I have my great pleasure now of introducing my dear friend and co-collaborator, sacred collaborator and mentor, I would say as well, Neil Gaur, who is really at the forefront of bringing forth this information of consciousness and transformation to the planet. And he has been doing this for over a decade and really started just ground up, bare bones, just kind of getting the downloads that he has to be doing this work. He has to be bringing this knowledge forth. Again, talk about breaking out of boxes. Neil also came from Indian family, Hindu upbringing, very traditional familial background, where talking about ETs and galactic consciousness and frequency and vibration and Lemuria and ancient civilizations, that was not acceptable. So even to come forth, Neil had to really break a lot of boundaries, his own familial boundaries, his own social, familial identities that he grew up, religious that you grew up with. And so it was really brave of you, Neil, to take this huge step, but you just really felt the calling that, hey, what people are being told doesn't make sense. And people deserve to know what is going on. And I'm going to create a platform where people can come to get this information, to get these downloads, to get these activations. And so Neil has created the largest online events platform for spirituality and consciousness. He's bringing forth information every single day with hundreds of events, both online and in person, from everything from ancient civilizations to our galactic origins to our ET realities, DNA activation, just so much more. I mean, every topic, and he brings together the most cutting edge speakers and experts. And he also is one of the most cutting edge speakers and experts in this realm. And so, I think, just Neil, what you have done is so incredible. It's incredibly brave, what you have gone through personally to create this. And I just know you have such huge visions for what you're creating, and this is just the beginning. And I know you're going to share that with everyone as well. But we also have the Ultimate Star Beings conference coming up next week, a 5-day conference on ET origins and awareness and galactic families. That's like the biggest conference ever about that topic, which I'm excited about. And we have your upcoming in-person conference in San Diego, which I'm super excited to be a part of. And Soul Search is excited to be one of the sponsors there. And, so there's just so many things that you have done and you continue to do for this entire community, bringing us together, bringing forth this information, this knowledge, activating each one of us. So thank you so much for what you do. And I'm so excited to hear what you have to share today.
Tanjia, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. And yeah, it is just the beginning. Like, even though it feels like I've been doing this for a while, and it feels like I've been doing this for lifetimes, but I also feel like I just started. Like what we're going to create, what we are creating, and what it's going to manifest into as we start having this ascended world and living in an ascended world it's going to shift quite a bit, and really is the beginning phases of a new zodiac, right? And if you look, and this is ties right into the presentation, coincidentally slash synchronistically, that this is the beginning of a new zodiac. You look at the night sky. A lot of us here know that every 26,000 years, plus or minus some years, we have the different zodiacs basically go throughout our sky every 2,000 years or so, right? The reason why the reason why Jesus and the Christianity has the fish as their symbol is because of the age of Pisces, the fish. Wait a second, how does Christianity connect to astrology? I thought they were separate. Well, they actually pulled this information from the fact that this is what we're seeing in the night sky and the stars. And if you look at every ancient culture, actually, if you look at every ancient religion or belief system that really took hold of the planet and became a viral belief system around the planet throughout a history, some of which we're going to look at right now, you will see that let me just change my setting here. You'll see that almost actually at every single shift of the zodiac, a new religion comes on the planet. Great example. You know how in Hinduism the cow is worshipped? Well, take a guess at what zodiac began at the beginning of the Hindu age, in which, because it actually spanned multiple zodiacs. However, the age in which the cow was incorporated as a religious symbol was because it was the age of Taurus, the bull, cow, right? We have all these cow cults around the planet. None of them still exist except for Hinduism, right? We have what happened when Moses came down from Mount Sinai. Well, side note, we're going to Mount Sinai in Egypt next year. So if you guys want to come with us. And when he went to Mount Sinai and went up and got the 10 commandments and he came back down, do you guys remember the stories and the movies about it? That he basically created an earthquake. He was like, you guys are worshiping the old gods. These aren't, well, first of all, there's a lot in just that word old gods, like he was even validating the fact that there were gods that were the old gods and it was multiple. But he was really upset, right, as part of the story. You're not saying this is exactly how it went down. I have my own theories on this. But he basically created an earthquake. A bunch of people died and said, you shouldn't be worshiping this old system. Who were they worshiping? They were worshiping the golden bull, the calf, right? They were worshiping the old zodiac. So, but what had happened with Moses going up to Mount Sinai, a new zodiac was coming. He went to Mount Sinai, that happens to be a volcano, and spoke to God or whatever being he spoke to, and that being gave him the new covenant for the new zodiac, the new religion. This is what it's going to be. Choose one God out of the many. I am the one God, and then teach your people, right? So we see this shifting in zodiacs occurring that goes in alignment with different religions and belief systems and spirituality. So what's occurring now? Well, we're leaving one zodiac into another once again. We're leaving the Piscean age and going into the Aquarius age. And in the Aquarian age, this is a new belief system that is at the beginning phases. So now circling back to the beginning of this, I started talking about the fact that this is the beginning of an age. So we might have been doing this 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, but we literally were just setting the precedence for 2,000 years of this evolution, right? And so as we're doing that, we're shifting into this reality. What is the theme of this new reality? Well, as I like to call it, is basically the religion of no religion, non-dogmatic spiritualism, the law of vibration and frequency. This is the new belief system that we're going into. Just to keep it simple, obviously it goes way deeper than that, because we also have the opportunity for full remembrance, recall for past lives and ET lives. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to kind of freestyle it in regards to the fact that I've spoke about the Yuga cycles, which is my presentation today, the cycles of time. I'm going to speak about it through 3 different presentations. And I love doing this freestyling, just grabbing presentations and just seeing how it pieces together. So I got 3 presentations up in which I've put aside certain slides within each of those presentations that all fit hand in hand. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to start with the first one here. So this one is from my, let me do setting thing. Okay, this one is from my presentation on galactic origins, dimensions, and black holes. So I'm specifically showing you this. Here is how we're going to flow. I want to talk about the Milky Way galaxy, what it looks like. What are the light years from stars to stars? What kind of rotations are we going through? What are some anomalies? How does it all connect together? And maybe even while we're doing this, you can kind of look at it and be like, wait a second, this looks like a really intricate clock, a clock within a clock within a clock. The way that these things work, and they go in alignment with each other and rotate around each other with perfect synchronicity and perfect amount of time and years that pass by. So just to really just show you and welcome you and introduce you to your home galaxy. And then after we've done that, we're going to go into ancient India and talk about the Ramayana and the Mahabharata and connect that to the cycles of time in Hampi, India, specifically the place we're going. And then after that, we will go into the flood story and the cycles of time and flood. And that will be it. And the reason why we're doing it like so is because the reason why I'm even talking about this, going through all this with you guys here today, is because this is basically what I like to do when I do conferences. I look at what everybody else is presenting, and then I see what things will fill in the gaps and kind of bring things together. And then I like to present on those things just to tie a lot of stuff together. So everything that we're sharing here and all these modalities that people share and gifts that we have that, you know, that you're receiving through these downloads are really connected to what I'm about to show you right now, which is the cycles of time and the fact that it's inevitable. We are evolving. Our consciousness is expanding. So once again, welcome to the Milky Way galaxy. So our galaxy is speeding through space and Earth, traveling through space about 1.3 million miles per hour. And we're going 25 miles per second closer to the center of the Milky Way galaxy. That's what we've been told conventionally. We're also traveling alongside our local cluster galaxy, 375 miles per second towards the Virgo cluster, which is an enormous collection of galaxies around 45 million light years away. And usually I show this image later, but I'll show it to you first, since even Deborah Juicy talked about this, the photon belt and the understanding of the Mayans. And 2012, right? So in 2012, as we all know here probably, that there was a belief that we were shifting. There was a shift of ages occurring, right? A mainstream conventional movie, Hollywood style, went down. Oh, they try to say it's the end of the world, but it was not the end of the world. So it's all a farce, right? But we know, and if you actually look at the scriptures, it doesn't say the end of life and existence. It says the end of ages. Ages. Well, that is where the misunderstanding is now. The end of ages. Oh my God, we're gonna die. Well, this means the end of one age, Piscean age, the beginning of a new age, Aquarian age, even the end of one dimension, the beginning of a new one. So the 2012 shift, you know, some people were like that day, December 21st, 2012. And then all of a sudden, a lot of people shifted and said, well, it's actually a period of time. And in actual fact, it was always a period of time, because what the 2012 shift represented was us entering the photon belt. When you look up in the night sky and you see milk of the Milky Way galaxy, the milk of the Milky Way galaxy is a very high concentration of ether that is known as the photon belt. The flat plane of the galaxy, which is an interesting term to use anyway, because what really is a flat plane within space, is what you can see right here. Now, what you see in regards to us going up and down, down and up and down, is the trajectory of our solar system around our galaxy. So not only are we rotating around the galaxy, as if the black hole in the center of our galaxy was the sun of our solar system, doing the same thing, but we're also doing a Fibonacci spiral up and down over the photon belt, under the photon belt. And you can see that this is right here mapping out the last 25,000 years or so, which goes in alignment with what I just spoke about in regards to the zodiac. And every 2,000 years, you can see 10,000, 8,000 BC, Leo, Cancer for 2000, Gemini. Where are we? 4 BC, the Christ conscious Piscean age starts. 2,000 years later, boom, we hit the photon belt. Photon belt, we go through a bath of vibration and frequency and ether, right? Which has also scientifically been proven, because ether is actually a scientific term for something that really does exist. It's not just an esoteric term. It's been used since the early 1900s, late 1800s. And they know this existed. And they even speculated in the 1900s, that early 1900s, like 1920, that the ether could be coming from another dimension of space, right? So definitely we're in alignment with a lot of cosmic truths and esoteric truths that we understand today. So as we're shifting, we go into the Aquarian age, and then we go through this vibrational bath, and then we continue going, and the cycle continues. And that is pretty much what is going on. Now, side note slash disclaimer, many people believe that we are breaking free from this cycle of allowing this trajectory to also affect our level of consciousness. The trajectory might continue. However, will our consciousness drop again in order to be remembered once more? That is where, I guess you could say controversy, but it's not really controversial. It's just a discussion and a debate, really. It's really like, what are we breaking free from this construct? Can we continue for tens and tens and hundreds of thousands of years evolving rather than going through this devolution, evolution? So here is your galaxy one more time. And first of all, let's take a look at this, because as we're talking about cycles of time and zodiac and the equinox, precession of the equinoxes, really want to talk about the galaxy, because all of that, zodiac, the precession of the zodiac, equinox, the solstices, all of that is in alignment with what our galaxy looks like and our position within it. The distance from the end of the galaxy to the black hole in the Milky Way, in the center of the Milky Way, the supermassive black hole, is 30,000 years. The distance from Earth, right, from Earth to the Milky Way galaxy, which is the constellation of Sagittarius A, which is the entrance to the Milky Way galaxy, is around 26,000 years. The exact same as this. So we're seeing these numbers repeat. You'll see it a few more times. So I'm just going to quickly go through this because I want you to see there's galactic weather, right? There's, for example, in the photon belt, it's a very high concentration of ether. The temperature of all the planets increase. Around 10 years ago, Russian space scientists had released an article in which they said the ether level of the planet of our solar system is increasing. We're moving to a part of the galaxy with a high concentration of ether, and the heat, the temperature on every planet is increasing. Now you have some controversy because this is the disconnect between climate change based on human involvement on Earth and the esoteric belief that it's actually a heat rays within our galaxy and it's not actually directly connected to the climate change that we're creating here, right? I'm not telling you which one's right or wrong, but I'm just showing you how the galactic weather is actually contributing to a lot of experiences we're going through. You can see here, passing through dark interstellar dust clouds could have altered Earth's climate, perhaps leading to episodes of global glaciation. The sun and planets may have originated closer to the galaxy and served outwards towards its spiral arms. Interesting. We'll see something about that in a second. As the entire, here we go. Okay, now this one's important. As the entire galaxy moves through the cosmos, its bow shock sends a deluge of cosmic rays raining down. So there's a vibratory sonic bow shock occurring from the fact that our solar system, our galaxy exists. And there's a frequency, boom, 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 boom. Imagine a drum upside down, you're banging it, and your eyes could see the vibrations coming off it. That is what is happening in our galaxy all the time. Okay, so when we're at certain levels of this, we're being bombarded with the bow shock from our own galaxy. And I think I shared this before, but the solar system wobbles up and down 200 light years either side of the galactic disk. When it wobbles above, cosmic waves from the galactic, it is exposed from the cosmic waves from the galaxy's bow shock. So what's that mean? Well, it means when we go above, we're getting cosmic rays from the bow shock hitting us here. And the 200 light years, so this right here, the top part here, 8,000 AD and 4,000 BC happen to be the times that we are 200 light years maxed above the galactic disk, the photon belt, the ether. Passing through bright star formation regions may have exposed Earth to hazardous radiation from supernovae, perhaps causing mass extinctions. So what I'm really trying to paint here is that our galaxy is created up like an amazing board game where things have been put into place almost like deliberately, right? Because when I show you that there's some cycles that we're figuring out exist, doing in for order for us to gain experiences, for entire some species to be wiped out from the earth, from things to get reset, from a planet to shift, but then ultimately the last part of it all is the level of consciousness that we're at. Since we were talking about the Milky Way galaxy's supermassive black hole, we should really talk about, just about that a little bit. So let me just talk to you about the galactic core. Firstly, you might have heard in many ancient cultures, especially the Mayan ancient culture scriptures, saying the central sun, the central sun. It's one of my favorite words in a lot of my poetry, like a lot of it, I use that. And the central sun is actually not the sun in our solar system. The central sun represents the black hole in the center of the galaxy. So in a lot of cultures, when they're talking about God being the central sun, or that's where God's throne is, they're talking about the center of the galaxy, which is the void, which is the exit point from this dualistic experience. I just shifted my belief system on dimensions like 3 weeks ago, guys. I thought it went up to 13. Now, there's a lot of parallel dimensions, all types of different infinite dimensions. But in regards to the physical experience in the galaxy, 13. But now I've just been introduced to a whole world of 15 dimensions and 2 other dimensions after that, and breaking free from duality after the 13th dimension, which I'll present at some other point. So the supermassive black hole, the mass of 4 million suns. Sagittarius A is located at the center of the Milky Way galaxy. It lies in the direction of the Sagittarius constellation near the border with Scorpius. It is the location of the supermassive black hole in the center of the galaxy, around 26,000 light years from Earth. Here's a picture from NASA of Sagittarius A. And since a black hole is black, we can't see it, right? Is what they say. So the only thing we can do is observe the way it affects light around it. So we've noticed extreme distortions in light, bending of space-time. Sagittarius A, believing that going through that constellation is basically the entrance towards the supermassive black hole. Now, this image here, before we move from galactic origins to something to one of the other slides, is another anomaly that also affects Earth, affects our consciousness, affects the fact that we're waking up. So if you remember a few slides ago, I shared that new evidence suggests that Earth started closer to the supermassive black hole, kind of like where the sun is right there. Well, there is a galaxy that has been colliding and integrating with our galaxy for quite some time. I'm not sure if you guys, were taught this, getting, being raised as I was in my classes on science, is that in like millions of years, if not, I don't even know if it was billions of years, we're moving towards the Andromeda galaxy. The Andromeda galaxy is moving towards us. So eventually we're going to collide and integrate with each other. And it's going to be many, 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 many ages from now. And that's what we've been told is going to happen, right? However, did you know that we are already colliding and integrating with the galaxy in this moment? And actually, it's been happening for 8 billion years. And the galaxy is a dwarf galaxy called Sagittarius. And some of the evidence now points to Earth originating in that galaxy and then coming into integration into the Milky Way. And the way it occurred was that this galaxy had a collision course for ours, and the solar system was picked up and near the black hole inside of the galaxy, and then slowly moved out towards the position we are now. One of the main reasons why this belief it exists, and there's evidence for this, is that the way our solar system, I'm going to show you a little visual here with my arms. The way our solar system is where was I? I read a comment and I lost my train of thought. So the galactic arms, and okay, the way our solar system is, so here we have the galaxy, boom, right this. Our solar system is lodged at an angle that is not the same as any other solar system around us. It looks like we came in and the gravitational pull of the Milky Way galaxy, of the supermassive black hole, pulled our system in, but we never balanced out to be completely straight, and we're at an angle compared to the rest of the solar systems. So that is partially the reason why we believe to have come from Sagittarius A. So the next slide here is going to show you the over 8 billion years, what occurred to this galaxy and how it integrated with Earth. And I'll comment as we see the graphic visual. 8 billion years ago, 5.7 billion years ago, 3 billion years ago, 1.9 billion years ago, 1 billion years ago. One more time. Current situation, boom. 8 billion years ago, first Sagittarius passed, 5.7, 3 billion years ago, passing again second time, 1.9 billion years ago. Third passed 1 billion years ago, boom, infinity spiral being sucked in with the gravitational pull of the Milky Way. So now that we've kind of showed you, the galactic weather really is what that is, that there's so many different elements that are going on, so many different things that are occurring within our galaxy that we're not aware of because we can't see it, right? That is actually affecting our experience on Earth. Now, we are going to go and talk about Shiva. Let me do a time check first. Okay. All right, so Shiva, since we're talking about the black hole, let's break down Shiva a bit. Shiva translates to no thing, the nothingness within all things. Shiva was a representation of the no thing, not nothing, but of not a thing, not nothing, not a thing. Because we're all frequency, we're not even a thing. We just perceive ourselves as this. As Suzanne said, it was a really advanced virtual reality game. So Shiva represents the nothingness, represents the black hole, right? And the Kalima, the female aspect of Shiva, the destructive force doesn't represent destruction, but together they represent recycling through the center of the black hole. Now we have another god, just like the central sun. We have Shiva also having a representation of the black hole. So it kind of went like this. I'm oversimplifying it. A lot of ancient cultures that were very advanced, black hole worship, if you will, right? More like reverence for the black hole. And then it started becoming sun worshiping, and it became very limited with our sun and our trajectory around the sun, which further ingrains us into linear time. When you go into black hole reverence, right, for lack of a better explanation for that, when you go into black hole understanding and spirituality, you start getting secular time, because now you're not talking linearity based on distance from the sun, but you're talking about the cycles that we're taking through our galaxy, through the photon belt over and over again, 26,000 years around the Milky Way galaxy. So a lot of ancient cultures that held these truths speak about the black hole in a metaphor, if you will. Okay, so before Shiva, let's see if I want to skip this. Yes, I do. Okay. So this presentation I'm showing you pieces of right now is a presentation on Hampi, India, which is a place in India that has a lot of history, and also supposedly was the Kishkin kingdom, which was the monkey kingdom of Hanuman in the Ramayana. It was once the richest cities in the world when it was at its peak. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because it connects to a few stories that really fit within the cycles of time. So astronomical, archaeological, historical, scriptures, and more point to the following dates for the Mahabharata and the Ramayana. Do check out our Ancient Indian Origins 2-day conference. It was 10 hours a day, and we go one of the most epic events we've ever done. Like a 2-hour presentation on all types of scientific, intuitive, spiritual, archaeological information to prove the dating of the Mahabharata, and another separate 2-hour presentation specifically on the Ramayana. And those, for everybody on youtube.com/portal2ascension, are being released in its entirety next week. All 10 hours, they're going to be streamed 2 days in a row on the YouTube. So check it out there. So the Mahabharata took place around 5,561 BCE. The Ramayana took place around 12,209 BCE, right? Which is a time that we were supposedly very primitive, because we were told that the cradle of civilization started in Babylon around 6,000 BC, but they weren't even really advanced until a little bit later. So this really shifts the dates. So let's talk about the story of the Ramayana and how this connects to this Yuga cycles. The story of the Ramayana is a joint venture with the reincarnations of Shiva, which is Hanuman, as you see right there, Vishnu, which is Rama, who's sitting right there, Parvati, and which is Vishnu's wife, and the Naga snake. The snakes that Vishnu have are called Nagas, and his brother Lakshman, right? His brother Lakshman was a reincarnation of one of those snakes, reptilian beings. You can see here just some images of Nagas. We have one across the neck of Shiva. We have Vishnu's. You have Medusa, right? Which was just a misunderstood soul, everybody. She was just misunderstood. She was not as evil as they painted her out to be. She was a Nagini. And so, yeah, we have the serpent all over the place. And this is also another presentation itself, which I'll do one day, which is just serpent, ancient history of the serpent and how it got distorted in the West, and how obviously the Eastern world with the dragon, with the snake, with the Nagas had a different point of view in regards to the serpent. So in the Ramayana, it conventionally believed to happen in the Treta Yuga, right? That's what we've been told, the Treta Yuga, which is, I'm going to show you the Yuga cycles in a minute, but evidence points to it being written down in the Treta, and multiple disciplines of research point to the story occurring in the Satya. So instead of happening in the Treta Yuga, which is the age after the Satya Yuga is the golden age. Probably heard of it because we're talking about that all the time in the consciousness community. It was written down in Treta, but it looks like it probably happened in Satya Yuga. There's 7 kandas or books. The story connected to Hampi happened in the Kishkinda Kand, which is the monkey kingdom, passed down orally for thousands of years before it was even written down. In the story, Lord Rama fought in Hampi, which is in the south. The story is of the rescue of Lord Rama's kidnapped wife Sita. And the Indian New Year's, which is called Diwali, is the representation of Rama coming back after being banned from the forest, into the forest, and also coming back with Sita after saving her from Ravana, which is the demon god. Hanuman is believed to have brought rocks from all over India to build a bridge from Hampi to Lanka to save her. Lord Shiva, who married goddess Pampa, which is the daughter of Lord Brahma, in Hampi. So there's a lot of connections to this area. And here is the moment we've been waiting for, which is the cycles of time calendar. So now we're going to connect it a little bit. So there have been 2 versions of the cycles of time. This one is the one that's most circulated now. They're only off by a few hundred years, you know. The major difference is that one thinks that we're exiting the Kali Yuga now, but the other one says we exited the Kali Yuga 200 years ago, and there's a 200-year transitory cycle in between every age. So let's go over this. First of all, let's look at the Ramayana taking place in 1209 BC and 5500 BC for the Mahabharata. What ages are those? Okay, so let's go to 12209 BCE, which is right before the tip on the top of the golden age, before we went into the descending ages, ascending ages, descending ages. So right before the end of the last ice age and the end of the Younger Dryas period, and before there was a global flood, which we'll talk about soon, that occurred on the planet, if I have time. And so this is basically based on a lot of different evidence. Look at that conference to really find out and prove to yourself without a reasonable doubt the dating, because that really resonated with me. And then we have 5500 BCE, which is around here, the beginning of the Treta age, into the Treta right here, a little bit of the Mahabharata. Okay, so now in each age, you can see that there's this little area that's kind of sectioned off. If you see my cursor, these are 200 years. So in between every age, there's a 200 years where we're basically going out of that age, and 200 years where we're actually, no, this is all together 200 years, 100 and 100. So we're basically transitioning from one age to another age. If you look back at ancient history and you look at some of the most mythical wars, right, Mahabharata, or actual real ancient wars that we can document, like the Trojan War was considered a myth until we found archaeological evidence for it, all took place at the beginning and fall of different ages, right? It fits within this calendar, okay? Now, let me just take a detour right now and talk about Lord of the Rings and the wars that are happening in Lord of the Rings, and how Middle Earth changed to a different type of Earth, and how these different kingdoms exist in different realms. These stories and these wars are representative within those movies of us basically moving from one age to another age. And the ages that they were showing, were actually the ones of us coming out of these darker ages. However, if you look at the new Lord of the Rings, that's almost like a descending age that was happening there. So each of these ages, let's start at the Kali Yuga. The next age, the Dwapara Yuga, is twice the size of the Kali Yuga. The Treta Yuga, twice the size of the Dwapara Yuga. The Satya Yuga, twice the size of the Treta Yuga. Now, we mirror it on both sides. So the Satya Yuga ends up being extremely long because of the fact that it's doubled up and we have this ascending and descending age. There was a cataclysm that occurred at that time. And then we also see the rise of ancient Egypt, through new geological studies. The Sphinx is at least 11,000 years BC, 10,900 BC. So we see the rise of these very advanced cultures with some advanced architectural knowledge, spiritual awareness, but we also do not see evidence of great civilizations before them. Well, that's because that was the end of the last ice age, and there was a huge reset that occurred on the planet in which great civilizations and the technology pretty much got wiped out. And then the descendants of these individuals went and started creating communities all over the world. So we have the 200-year transitory phase. So the theme of the Golden Age, every ancient culture that's ancient enough talks about these ages. The only culture that has the dates is in India. All the rest of them give you the themes of the cultures. For example, if you look at ancient Greek texts, in Greece, they talk about what type of man, right, existed in that age, what the personality traits of that person was. Whereas in the Indian text, it goes a little deeper into the dating. So the Golden Age is the age of remembrance, where we have telepathy, we have advanced technology through our own vehicles of our human avatars. We don't need external tools. And then we start descending into the Treta Yuga, 200-year transitionary phase. We get into the Treta Yuga, and as we get into that age, we are now entering what is known as the Silver Age. As we descend, there is always an opportunity for liberation, always, right? You were never 100% a victim to the existence. In the higher ages, obviously you have more people awake than you have asleep. In the lower ages, you have less people awake, but everybody has the opportunity. There needs to be an escape route. There needs to be an exit route, a key. No one is allowed by the law of free will to be completely victimized. There needs to be an escape, which is why they hide the truth in plain sight. Movies all over the place, plausible deniability. We told them, So Treta Yuga. Then we go down into the Bronze Age. As we go into the Bronze Age, which is known as the Dwapara Yuga, we are now getting into more linear thinking, right? We're losing some of the abilities that we had before. In the Treta cycle, we still had some advanced powers and abilities and tapped into and shamanic awareness. And now we're starting to create in Treta into Dwapara external tools to maintain spiritual practices. This is where we see the introduction of language, written language, things that were passed down verbally before because we had the ability to do so and remember it, are starting to be written down. We start seeing the use of spiritual symbols. We start seeing the implementation of vowel sounds in language, A, E, I, O, U. All of these were done deliberately with intention in order for us to maintain a level of consciousness as we were descending. And then we continued to go down to the Kali Yuga. And as we enter the Kali Yuga, this is now known as the Dark Ages, the age of forgetfulness. Each of these ages have a theme. The theme of the Kali Yuga is the age of hierarchy and delusion. Hierarchy and delusion. What does that mean? Well, it means we give up our power to authorities and we feel that people have more authority over us and sovereignty has gone out of the window. And it also, the age of, what did I say? I say the age of, okay, then we shift. Yeah, the age of delusion was the other one. So hierarchy and then delusion. I mean, I don't need to tell you guys, but what is a delusional world? Is a world where all these spiritual concepts that we're talking about are really true and all these realms exist, but 75% plus of the planet will tell you that you're crazy. It's delusion. It's basically a mass gaslighting of humanity, of spirituality. So it's when what's wrong is right, what's right is wrong. Like that's the ages that we've been in. And now, as we shift and we go up into the Dwapara Yuga, what is the theme of the Dwapara Yuga? Well, when did the Kali Yuga end? The Kali Yuga ended around 1700, and there's a 200-year transitory phase into the 1900s. Okay, so during those 200 years, we see what happens at the beginning 1700s. We see the invention of electricity, light bulbs being used, all of these things. Well, what is the theme of the Dwapara Yuga? The theme of the Dwapara Yuga is the theme of sovereignty. Hello, we're going to regain our sovereignty. And the theme of energy. Energy, well, what does that mean? Well, energy represents electricity, number one, right? So that was the first discovery. What's the second level of energy, understanding, and awareness? What happened in 1900? The age of quantum physics, Max Planck. What happened in 1700 with Galileo, Newton, and all those people around that time? Atheism in regards to electricity, energy, and that kind of awareness. What happened with Albert Einstein, Tesla, and Max Planck is a deeper level of energy, subatomic world of energy, and all these people were spiritual. And as we shift and we get towards the end of the Dwapara Yuga, what occurs is the end goal of the age of the energy is us to realize we are energy, we are subatomic particles, and how do we start to use our own energy bodies in order to have a more fulfilled, abundant existence on planet Earth. So that is where we're at now. We've transitioned from this age, we're going into the age of energy and sovereignty, and also ideological communities. That's also been written thousands of years ago. The age in which people will start resonating or gravitating or living towards people based on their ideology. And also democracy as we know it shifts and changes because one side starts canceling the other side out and their progression never occurs. So the age of ideological communities, and this is a part of basically the restructuring of society, things kind of collapsing, more of a tribal understanding of existence and nature, communal living. These are the kind of things that we're going to master and at a very technologically advanced level by the end of the Dwapara Yuga. And I think that might be my time. Let's see here. I had one more thing to share, but I think I'll stop there. If there is, let me just check my timing. Yeah, I'm over time. So let me just say one other thing, which was the flood myth that I wanted to share about. Actually, I'm going to show you just one image here that really kind of just shows you how mainstream is really picking up on this as well. And we'll close off with this. So the Journal of Geography and Natural Disasters. Earth accelerates on its path to an ice period. Ice period, Younger Dryas time, 13,000 years ago, and slows during its back to global warming. Happens all the time, global warming. For example, slowdown happens between two leveling of the planet axis of the rotation with one solar one, which means roughly 13,000 years. Wait a second, that goes right in alignment with the 13,000 years of the cycles of time and the other 13,000 years ascending. So Jean-Pierre Vallée, a geophysicist from Paris Institute of Earth, believes the magnetic poles shift occurs anywhere from 13,000 to 40,000 years, two very important numbers. And they have now concluded that Earth is adhering to some sort of cosmic pattern that attracts various forms of natural disasters. And here's the article just to let you know, I didn't make it up, that mainstream science, the Journal of Geography and Natural Disasters, is now realizing that Earth is going to this 26,000 year cycle. There's pole shifts within it, and there's an ice period and a global warming. And the way the Earth is moving through our galaxy is attracting various forms of natural disasters that create resets on the planet. Just to show you how this is like some really beautifully intricate, I don't even like to use the word board game because it sounds so like non-organic, you know, but basically things have been put into place within this maze in this galaxy in such a way that it is inspiring evolution, inspiring devolution, inspiring devolution, because the devolution is also a part of the experience. The devolution isn't better or worse than the evolution. The devolution is what is needed in order for the evolution to even occur. The darkness teaches us the beauty of the light. Right. And that's really what this understanding and how we're going to shift into this dimension is going to happen, is for us to embrace and transmute the light rather than trying to rather than having fear about it, pushing it away and realizing that the darkness existed, because in a world of amnesia, how are you going to remember your light unless you experience the darkness? And that's it, guys. Thank you so much.
Wow, Neil, thank you so much. That was just so comprehensive, mind blown, incredible. We have a lot of questions coming in, so I think maybe you could take a few of them, and
Yeah.
that would be great. So one is, when is the conference with these teachings?
Yeah. So they all exist as presentations on Portal to Ascension independently right now. You know, the full one. The Galactic Origins ones, the 4 hour is 4 hours. It's on YouTube. The Creation Stories one, it's 3 hours. It's on YouTube. And what actually, let me just say this, guys. I'm going to Mexico in a few weeks, and I am actually planning over Christmas time to go live on YouTube for like 5 days in a row, doing 5 different 2 hour presentations. And all of these are going to be covered too. It's just going to be like something for fun that I do during that time. It's my Christmas gift to everybody.
Wow, awesome. So guys, stay tuned for that. And then we have Diane Soriano asking, when is the end of this Yuga?
Well, so, okay, the Dwarpa Yuga, let's just take a look real quick here. 700, 2000 years. So 1700, 2000, 2700. Wait, actually, no, wait, 2000 years. Okay, wait. So 1700 plus 2000, 3700. So 3700, that's the year.
Wow. Okay, great. And then Marilyn Donkersley, she has her hand up. So Marilyn, do you want to chat us a question, or do you want to pop on? Can ask you to, you want to pop on Zoom and ask your question to Neil?
She might have just put her hand up by mistake.
Oh, okay. All right. So we'll move on. But that was
Well, there's a question right here. So let me just answer this one real quick. So as I said, when I said that, I'm not saying which one's true or not, but I'm just showing you that even mainstream, well, the question is, global warming is not human induced, right? So we're definitely creating pollution on the planet. However, in regards to what's being pushed, for us to basically blame, you know, certain systems and institutions for it isn't entirely the truth. But we are definitely polluting the planet. We need to shift out of that. Now, however, even mainstream scientists, you know, NASA, Russian scientists, many different ones all around the world have noticed that the increase of temperatures occurred on all the planets in our solar system. And we're going through a global warming phase. We're actually not at the warmest that Earth has been at. And it actually may go even warmer than this right now. That really doesn't have anything to do with what we're doing on the Earth, but also has to do with our position within our galaxy. So if we entered the photon belt in 2012, we fully emerge on the other side of it 200 years later. So for those 200 years, it's a very high concentration of ether. The temperature of where we're at in our galaxy happens to be very high. So I'm not saying it's one or the other. I think it could be a combination of both.
Wow. Okay. And one last question here from Judith. Did you see her question? So inner work clearly needed. Other than staying alive, what do you deem worth doing with regard to social, political, etc.?
Oh man, I wasn't ready for that question actually.
That's a big one.
Yeah. Okay. So much division when it comes to having these conversations about it. You know, I get a little anxiety sometimes talking about it because we're so divided. I just really like to just walk the middle path and just look for what unites us rather than what divides us. Because when it comes to political game, you know, I'm not really like, I have my theories on that. There is an overall, you know, energy controlling all sides of it all, and that we're just like seeing what we need to see in order for us to basically continue being more divided. And you know, have my own reasons why I believe that. But really does matter is, you know, the fact that we are vibratory beings, and our inner worlds reflect our external reality. So I know somebody earlier shared about this, that when we do the inner work, and if more of us do the inner work, and if over half the planet's doing the inner work, and we really are creating inner peace and harmony within ourselves, the external reality has no choice but to reflect that. So we can have magic occur overnight if all of us just like what just happened to do it, or if we all just chanted Om 3 times together around the planet. You know, like, I'm sure that all of a sudden overnight, the next day we can be in another dimension, right? But see, the solutions are easy, but getting 7+ billion people to do it at the same time, that's the challenge, right? So that's why we're just taking it one person at a time, just speaking about this information. But as I shared at the beginning of my presentation, we're just at the beginning of this right now. right? There are more people awake than you might even realize. Ultimately, humanity by default does not have the original sin. They aren't evil and want to hurt people. They just want to love and be loved. And a lot of issues that occur on this planet is from the lack of love, right? So we need to figure out how to truly love ourselves and love others, but not loving ourselves for the fact that, we do what we do. I love myself because I'm a lawyer that makes six figures. I love myself because I'm Neil that created Portal to Ascension, which was pretty much the reason why I love myself for like a decade. And then, and now, like, it's like, how do you love yourself for the simple fact that you're a beautiful divine aspect of creation, that you exist? Can you love yourself for just existing without the fact that you got to do all these things? That's the journey I'm on. I'm definitely not there, but I realize that that's like true self-love isn't based on what you do, but just what you are, right? And that's what we are moving towards, being those beacons of love and the beacon of frequency, so external reality can be a harmonious one.
Beautiful, Neil.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I just got the term unconditional self-love is the next level.
Oh yeah, I love that, Nicole.
Right?
And Neil, one last
That's
question for me
amazing.
from Grace. So does ascension happen before the next cycle?
So ascension is always happening, guys, because technically, if you look at ascension and descension cycles, we started ascending like at the bottom of that cycle when we're still in the Kali Yuga, going through all types of craziness on the planet. And then when we descending, we were just descending so we can gain the experiences for the next ascension. So this, when I first started doing Portal to Ascension, I would have some emails every now and then of people very upset that I use the word ascension. Like, not too many people, but every month or so, 3 or 4 people. And a lot of people would say spiritual bypassing, escapism, all that stuff. But my definition of ascension isn't like leaving somewhere. It's not like waiting for something else. The only way we can live in an ascended reality is by finding the beauty of the moment, finding peace in the now, right? Everything within existence is paradoxical, right? And so the paradox is, the only way we will ever inherit a reality in earth that's ascended is by finding the beauty in this present moment. Because the more we're looking for something else in the future, the universe is one big Xerox machine. It's an unconditional, non-biased Xerox machine. It's literally going to copy whatever you put out there. So if you're going to keep putting out there that we're not there, we're not there, we're not there, when are we going to be there? That's what the beautiful universe is going to give to you, child, right? You'll be like, I gift you with that more of we're not there yet, right? So how do you get to a point where you realize you are there, and how do you start enjoying this moment? And, and that's what I feel the true ascension is.
Wow. Amazing. Well, thank you, Neil, for this exciting presentation. Mind blowing. Wow. Yeah. Shauna's saying this is so high, blows my mind, and I love it. So great. So thank you so much for your wisdom, your knowledge, giving us a whole download on these Yuga cycles of time. I mean, I just have to actually go back and re-listen to this presentation.
Yeah, it was that good. It was so jammed through magic. So interesting, Neil. Thank you.
Thank you so much for tuning into this podcast. This is Neil, founder of Portal to Ascension, and just closing out this podcast here and letting you know that what you're experiencing are all types of presentations that we have on Portal to Ascension. Such a wide variety, different audio clips from conferences that we do, and then other interviews that we have also on our YouTube. And I want to take this moment here at the end and just talk to you about a few upcoming things with Portal to Ascension. We're really excited because 2023, we're really blasting off, and we have a few conferences. We have Portal to Ascension San Diego, April 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. We have Portal to Ascension Glastonbury in the UK. Hope to see some of you there. That's August 11th, 12th, and 13th of next year. And then, or 2023 if you're listening to it now. And then we're also taking a tour of people to Egypt, guys. And we're going to go from September 7th. We're going to have the Hertax with us, JJ and Desiree Hertax, like you might have experienced on that channel. Joan of Angels is going to be with us, and also Alan Steinfeld. And actually, I have Joan of Angels here with me right now, so I'm going to just hand it over to her and get your input, Joan, on what we're going to be experiencing, your excitement, and all of that.
So this is a critical time in our history on the planet, And 2023 is this reawakening of it's just our reawakening of our spirituality and our transformation along this ascension timeline. So these events are designed to really awaken you, to really bring you to remember who you are, why you're here, your galactic origins, the power, the personal power we have within us to shift into the planet that we really want at the most optimum of potential, to align our body, mind, and spirit to get there. So these, just to be together in person, activates forgotten memories, activates light codes, activates DNA, and most of all, activates your happiness cells. Because the joy in coming together is just extraordinary. So we invite you to come and be with us in any of these events around the world. And even online, we try to create that same energetics. So we love you all, that we are creating a mystery school that goes around the planet and off planet.
Exactly, yes. And just a few websites for you. So firstly, of course, the main website, portal2ascension.org. We'll have everything there. You can sign up and get 1,000 plus, well, it's over 3,000 at this point, hours of free conscious content, like a streaming platform where you can browse and all of that. And then ascensionconference.com for Portal to Ascension San Diego, ascensionglastonbury.com for the Glastonbury conference, and then the Egypt tour is going to be on Portal to Ascension, or is on portal2ascension.org as well. Yeah, so some beautiful, amazing experiences. We're really blasting off. It's time to get exponential. We've been exponential, but now the exponential curve is even going even higher, because it's really time for us to remember who we are, tap in our true potential, and make some change on Earth that's creates betterment for everybody, right? And that's why we're doing what we do. That's why this podcast exists. So excited to see you guys there. AscensionConference.com and Portal to Ascension. Joan, any closing words?
Ascension Glastonbury. Yeah, we're all taking off together. This is the time for which we've been called, loves. Can't wait to see you there.
Love you all.